In our next topic, we have Stephanie Feldt. She's the Chief Compliance Officer at trading.com, and she's going to share her experience on how to maintain adequate supervision in the now remote world that we all used to. Stephanie is a licensed attorney in California, New Jersey, and New York with over 20 years experience in the financial service industry, primarily focused on legal and compliance matters for both large financial institutions, but also smaller startup entities. Stephanie has a diverse background in equities, derivatives, as well as other financial products. So currently, Stephanie is the Chief Compliance Officer and General Counsel of trading.com, a recently licensed retail foreign exchange dealer with the Commodities Future Trading Commission, offering over-the-counter Forex products to U.S. retail customers. She's also one of my current clients, so I'm very excited that she agreed to join today's panel and give her her own expertise. So given the work from home environment, the majority of us are also currently living in, addressing supervision and enforcement has been a key challenge for compliance professionals exclusively. In fact, 67% of employees use personal devices at work, so organizations can't ignore these key compliance issues. So with that, Stephanie, from your experience, what are effective supervision means?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Lindsay. So effective supervision just generally means that you develop processes and procedures for the detection and deterrence of possible wrongdoing by the firm's employees and its agents. It's really a kind of a key thing that the regulators are actually looking at right now, the supervision aspect of it, because a lot of the fines and regulatory infractions that a lot of firms are currently having relate to supervision. And so the things that, at least from my firm's perspective, that we need to kind of ensure that we're supervising are, for example, monitoring of emails, phone conversations, ensure employees are following firm policies and procedures, reform of customer activity, as well as ensuring things like customer statements are being sent on a timely fashion, as well as reviewing the firm itself, its trading activities. And as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the firms are, having to deal with stiff fines from the regulators, which is kind of a new trend that the regulators are doing now. So for example, in 2020, JP Morgan was fined $75 million for lack of supervision. Another one, Interactive Brokers, was fined $1.75 million. So it's kind of an ongoing trend. And it was difficult before the pandemic happened, because even at that point in time, but at least you could restrict, for example, people's access to social media pages and their email. But the work from home has kind of created a whole new way to look at supervision.
Understood. Thank you for that information. With that being said, can you help our audience and myself understand a little bit more of the challenges around ensuring adequate supervision for your remote environment?
Sure. So as I mentioned before, when people were actually going to the office every day, policies and procedures were stating. So for example, if you have a trading floor, phones can't be used on the trading floor, or if someone wanted to access their emails from their work computer, they'd be blocked. But now, because people have access to all of that, both their personal computers and their cell phones at home, it's a matter of understanding, okay, what are your employees doing? Understanding the actual business model that the firm uses in order to interact with customers, so that you can develop effective policies and procedures to address those particular business models. So you want to look at, do you have policies and procedures to adjust, firm issued to be able to use, to not be able to use personal computers at home, and only communicate with customers using firm provided hardware.
Got it. And so, what are some of the key solutions and best practices that firms should consider in addressing these challenges?
Sure. So from my perspective, I think that having really well drafted policies and procedures that tell employees exactly what they need to do and what they need to follow. I've worked in places where they've been quite vague, so it's really important to make sure that the compliance people, when drafting these procedures, really understand the business model and what their employees are doing on a regular basis. Use of technology is very helpful. So being able to generate reports remotely so that you can monitor customer interactions with customers, or customer training activity, or what your traders are doing on their trading floor. Surveillance of email and media and social media surveillance. Being able to have clear procedures as to what emails they can and cannot use, and their use of social media websites. Can they use them? Can they not? And also being able to monitor it, because you obviously don't want a policy or procedure that you have drafted but no one's following. That's actually worse than not having a policy or procedure at all. So it's really key to make sure that those points are key. And then just adequate training for employees. I mean, constantly communicate with your business people and make sure that they're aware of, for example, the regulatory fines that are being imposed, and that it's very important for them to understand, look, these are the regulations, and we really need to ensure that we satisfy them adequately. And so that's kind of really key, is, again, good communication with your business people and understanding the business practices to develop these policies and procedures.